You know what? We have had a lot of fun and made a lot of progress as we've gone through these videos on IPv4 static routes together. And here's what I'd love for us to do in this video. Let's take a look at some review questions regarding how IPv4 static routes work and how their syntax is set up. And it'll give us an opportunity to reinforce what we are learning and what we're practicing. And it'll also give us an opportunity, if needed, to identify, oh yeah, I need to go look at that a little bit further. Or, oh yeah, that's how that works. So that'll be a great opportunity for us together in these review questions. Now, here's how I envision it working out for us. I'll present the question, and then I'm going to pause for a few seconds. And I encourage you to pause the video and look at the question, look at the answers, and give it a college try as far as identifying what the right answer is. And what you will discover as you've gone through these videos together with me, we've covered all of these topics and we've reinforced them. And as you see the questions, take a moment, answer them, and then when you're ready, click on play, and we'll review the correct answer together and why perhaps some of the other answers aren't correct. So we're going to have a lot of fun as we go through this, starting with the first question right now. So here it is, question number 1. A router can use which of the following methods to add routes to its routing table? And choose 3. So I've got a question for you. It's like, Keith, what? I'm trying to answer this question. Did you pause? My strong encouragement for us is that between each question, before we do the review, to pause it and give yourself enough time to really read the question, all the possible answers, and then come up with selecting the best answer or answers from the list. So I won't be repeating this every single time, of course, but I do want to just impress upon your mind as we go forward with these review questions. Every question you get, hit pause, give yourself enough time, review the answers, choose the best answer, and then we'll take a look at the correct answer together and why it's the correct answer. So back to the question. And the answer to this question would be directly connected networks. So if we have an interface, we bring it up, we give it an IP address, boom, that router now believes it's directly connected to that network, and as a result, it's got a route. That's one way to add a route to the routing table. Another method, and the topic of these videos in this skill, would be static routes for IPv4. We add a static route, and boom, that route shows up in the routing table if it's the best route. And then third, dynamic updates with dynamic routing protocols, such as OSPF. So my question for you is, how did you do? Now, at the bottom of each of these questions, I've also got the video title from this set of videos where the information that teaches that concept can be found. So if you need to review that again, feel free to go back to that video. All right, are you ready for the next question? Let's take a look at question number 2. Question number 2, consider consider the topology. Well, Keith, we probably ought to put a topology right here. Let me go ahead and draw it out. So here's the topology. So what would be the correct syntax on router 1 to add a static route to reach the 1067.83 network with the 24-bit mask? And if you're thinking, whoa, Keith, you want us to put in like the whole syntax, the whole thing? And the answer is absolutely yes. And the practice and the labs that we've done together are going to help in reinforcing those skills of not only understanding how static routes work, but also how to put them in. So that's the question we're asking right here in question number 2. All right, let's compare notes. So on router 1, we'd go into configuration mode and we'd say IP space route space, and then we would put in the network that we want to add the static route for, which is 10.67.83.0 space, and then the 24-bit mask in dotted decimal, which would look like this. And then we'll put the next hop of the next hop router, which is going to be 10.12.0.2, 10.12.0.2, based on our topology. Now we also could have right here, we could have injected also the fast Ethernet interface specifically, but because R1 only has one path to that next hop, it's not needed on this Ethernet segment. So this would be a correct answer here. This is how we would add a static route on R1 to get to the 1067.83 network with a 24-bit mask using 10.12.0.2 right here as our next hop. That would be the forwarding router. All right, next question, question number 3. What is true about this command? IP route 192.168.1.0 with the 24-bit mask, gig 00, 23.1.2.3. Which of the following are true? So it doesn't say how many. It just says please select all of them that are accurate or true. So go ahead and take a moment, pause the video right here, and then go ahead and select the answers from below which you believe are true. Now, one technique that I've learned over time is that I definitely want to read all of the answers. And that's a great practice, whether we're looking for just one answer that's correct or multiple answers that are correct. We want to read everything. So as we go down this list, IP route, network, mask, exit interface, 23.1.2.3, that's the next hop. That to me looks like a valid static route. So I'm going to go ahead and say that is a possibility as far as a correct answer. Now, one of the other variables that we don't know is that does this router, can it reach that next hop? And I'm assuming that it could, because if it cannot reach that next hop, it really is not going to be able to use that as a good route. And if that's a valid static route, that would mean this answer is not correct, because it is a valid static route command, which it is, by the way. So answer C says the next hop for the route is 23.1.2.3. Sure enough, that would be also correct. And then D, network for the route is 192.168.1.0 with a 24-bit mask. That is indeed 24 bits. That's spot on, so D would be correct as well. E says the exit or egress interface for the route is gig00, and that is this part right here. And that looks true as well, so I'll go ahead and select that as a correct answer. And then finally, F, receiving ingress interface for the route is gig00. And that is not the case. This is the egress or exit interface that is being referred to here as part of the static route. So F would not be correct. And if you need to go back and revisit any of that, please feel free to take a look at the video called Static Routes Using an Outbound Interface. All right, on to question number 4. Which of the following implements a default static route? So as we go through all of these answers, the syntax is going to be IP route something, so that would leave off this one and this one because they don't have the right syntax. And then from the IP routes, here we have IP route 0000/0. Nope. And then we have IP route 0000 space 0000. That looks good so far. And then the next top of 28.97.13.6. That to me, answer C, looks like a winner. I'm going to circle that, but I'm also going to read answer E before we continue. IP route to, okay, yeah, so that's not the valid syntax for a default static route. So E is out of the picture, which leaves answer C, IP route 0000 space 0000 space, and then the IP address of the next hop. All right, on to question number 5. What is the correct syntax for a static floating host route to host 5555 with the next hop of 5678 and an administrative distance, or an AD, of 25. Oh my gosh, there is so much information in here. We need to process that and then choose the best and correct answer from the options below. Now, one of the options here would be if we are comfortable with the IP route command, we could just say, well, just putting all these answers aside for a moment, what is the right syntax? And so the syntax would be IP route space, and then we would put the IP address that we're trying to add the static route for, which would be 5.5.5.5.5. And because it's a host route, we're talking about a mask of 32 bits. So the mask would look like this, and a space, and then the next hop would be 5678. And we'll put those periods in there. And then for the administrative distance, they want 25, so I will just add that as a little space after the 5.6.7.8 and add on the 25 for the administrative distance. Then we can just look for an answer that looks like that. So route IP is out, wrong syntax. And so this one will also be bad here. So it's going to be IP route with a 32-bit mask using the next hop of 5678 and an administrative distance of 25. So this is our winner right here. But we'd also want to take a look at the other two just to verify that they are not the correct syntax. And they absolutely are not. So in this case, E is our winner. And I've got one more question that I'd like us to take a look at together, and that's this. Question number 6. You want to create a floating static route to 1067.83.0 with a 24-bit mask with a next hop of 1016.79. Which command would you use? Also, we're going to build it based on this existing routing table on a Cisco router. So this is going to involve us looking at the current entry or entries in the routing table, and then choosing one of these 4 static route commands to implement the solution right here. So this will take just a moment to consider the data, and then we'll come back together and we'll review the answer together. So in this scenario, they want us to create a static route to the 1067.83 network, a floating static route with the associated next hop. So in the routing table, as we take a look at the routing table, they've already got an entry right here for that exact 24-bit network, 1067.83.0. And if we're doing a floating static route, this can be worse than the current entry here. We are going to have an administrative distance greater than, higher than 11. So 12, 13, 14, etc. So if we take a look at our answers here, just the administrative distance part, this one's out. And let me go back to white here. So the answer C is out because it doesn't have an administrative distance at all, and that would have a default administrative distance of 1 for a static route, which would be better than the current route. And that would cause our new route to not be a floating static route. And if we take a look at this one, the administrative distance is 1, so that's also out. So it's really between these two, B and D, with the administrative distance of 100, which is going to be a higher number than the current route that has an AD of 11. So if we take a look at the syntax, IP route, 1067.83.0 with a 24-bit mask, next hop of 10.16.7.9, administrative distance of 100. That to me looks like a winner, but before we go home, we're going to take a look at the other one as well. Answer D says IP route, 1067.00 with a 16-bit mask. Okay, so this is out because it's simply the wrong network. This is a 16-bit network, 1067. It's not the 24-bit network that's being called for in the task. So the correct answer here is answer B. If you need to go back and revisit that, here's the name of the video where you can go over that again if you need to. And I have absolutely enjoyed going through with you these questions regarding IPv4 static routes. If you had any challenges or problems with any of them, please feel free to go back and revisit the associated videos and take advantage of the hands-on practice to reinforce those skills. The more times you configure a Cisco router with whatever it is, IP addressing, static routes, dynamic routing, whatever it is, the more times you do it, the better and better you'll get at it, and that's going to add value, and that's going to increase your skills, and that's what we're after. We want to improve our skills to be more valuable to ourselves, our companies, our families, our friends, and everyone around us. So thanks for joining me in this journey, and I'll see you in the next one. Meanwhile, I hope this has been informative for you, and I'd like to thank you for viewing.